Good evening, and welcome once again to the Shadow Gallery. I'm your host, James Donnelly. And I would normally give you my comics-related catchphrase, but that's not really appropriate for this somewhat special segment of the Shadow Gallery, because we're going to take some time to talk about a very controversial release this week in comics. And that is this. I'm sure most of you know about it already. Action Comics 900. Landmark issue. The highest any comic, highest number any comics ever gotten to. Now, as far as the comic itself is considered, the ongoing actual plot done by Paul Cornell, who's a writer that I have a lot of affection for. He did one of my favorite recent, within the last couple of years, one of my favorite new series, and my favorite canceled series at the time, which was Captain Britain and MI-13. Terrific, awesome, tremendous series that I loved dearly. But it just wasn't doing that great sales-wise, so that sucked, and it was taken down. So, anyway, the story itself in the actual, quote-unquote issue is about Luthor kind of playing at being a god, trying to destroy Superman. All of the Superman quote-unquote clones or whatever, people that rose up in the death of Superman, the Eradicator, the Cyborg Superman, Steel, Superboy, and also Supergirl are all being chased by Doomsday in this weird. I didn't really understand the story itself, to be quite honest, because I don't read up on Superman. Which is not to say I don't love Superman as a character. I actually do. And that I know goes against a lot of the knee-jerk reaction of many people who are like, oh, Superman is just a big, overgrown blue Boy Scout. The same shtick that people have been singing since Frank Miller first said it in 1986 in The Dark Knight Returns. I'm just getting really fucking sick of that shit. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I get fed up really easily who just say, oh, well, Superman's too perfect, and Superman's too, he's too good. And it's like, well, fuck you. You should be that good. That's the whole thing. If you harken back to my review of All-Star Superman, that's one of the reasons that I feel so strongly about this, is because goodness is something that we should really aspire to, rather than just being cynical and joyless, which is something that many of us are. But anyway, on to the issue at hand, which has actually created another issue, because there are several backing stories by the likes of Paul Dini, Jeff Johns, Damon Lindelof. And the really important one is credited to David Goyer, who wrote all of the Blade films and also did the story, assisted with story duties and screenwriting duties on Batman Begins, and assisted on story duties on The Dark Knight, and probably, I think, also The Dark Knight Rises. But he is... he wrote, I think, JSA for a while also. So I mean, he definitely is. He's a definite comics dude. So basically, he told a story in which Superman is essentially kind of being, given a piece of the U.S. State Department's mind, or his National Security Advisor's mind, I should say, and deservedly so. Because Superman flew into Tehran to act in solidarity of kind of the Jasmine Revolution protesters that don't actually really exist at this point in time in Tehran. But it was just they wanted to obviously talk about something that's not real, that isn't happening, because to do it, to give it to something that actually took place. If this was something that happened in Baghdad, or if something that's happening in Libya, this would be a much more inappropriate. It'd be an incredibly inappropriate thing to talk about, because people did suffer and die in the Egyptian uprising, and people are definitely suffering and dying in Libya. But anyway, moving on. He arrives there, like I said, as an act of solidarity with the protesters. They're nonviolent protesters, and he joins them in an act of civil disobedience. Essentially, he stands perfectly still for 24 hours. He does not move. When people cheer him and throw roses to him, he doesn't move. When people start throwing Molotov cocktails at him, he doesn't move. Essentially what it boils down to is that he's getting chewed out by the American National Security Advisor, because this could be looked on as essentially an act of American aggression in that area. So what he decides to do is that he is going to announce at the United Nations that he is renouncing his U.S. citizenship. Now, this has thrown the whole fucking media here in the United States into a total frenzy, because, well, Superman is like the original American hero, and he's being and he's disassociating himself with the United States. See, people get one sentence, and that's the context that they take it in, and then it gets blown way out of proportion. It's the liberal, it's the liberal comic Hollywood intelligentsia saying, well, fuck America, and you don't deserve a character like Superman. No, this is what happens. This is why Superman decides to do this. He does not want to make trouble for America. He doesn't want the Earth is too small. He's an alien, okay, and he has a different view of our planet than people who are confined by the physical and governmental boundaries. So he wants to take his ideology on the road, so to speak. So what he's saying, I want to be a citizen of the world. It's too small. Just being, and if things that I do are going to be interpreted as acts of this government, of the American government, I don't want to get that. I don't want to get this government in trouble. So I'm renouncing our U.S. citizenship. It's not because he doesn't like America. He's trying to do the right thing by America. That's why he's renouncing his citizenship. So if you're listening, Fox News, conservative pundits, and the rest of you assholes who think that this is, just everybody, just people at DC trying to drum up sales and saying, fuck you, America, we're taking our bat and our ball and our Superman and we're going elsewhere with them. And there's been some really disgusting things that have been said about this comic, and, the internet just brings out the absolute worst in people. Never the best, almost always the worst. To all you jerk-offs who are, out there calling Superman now, calling him fag or Captain Cornhole, which I've heard, it's just like, come on, man. Grow the fuck up. And you pundits who are on your fake pulpits, blowing your hot air out of your ass about, how, Superman's now going to be un-American, it's like, just fuck off and read the goddamn issue and, get your fucking facts straight, okay, before you start sensationalizing everything, okay? And that is all that I have to say to you. For those of you who read it and actually understand what was going on and agree with it, thumbs up to you. See you later.